We're live.
We'll call the meeting to order.
I would like to amend the agenda. We need to vote to approve the workman's comp down payment. So when we get down to new business, that will be the first thing that we do.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I make a motion.
And I second it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
Aye.
Aye.
Black Hills Energy bill from last month.
Let's do the workman's comp. Oh, I'm sorry. We're doing that in new business. My fault. You're correct.
Hoskinson.
Yes. At the last meeting, Mark had questioned the Black Hills Energy bill on the swimming pool, and I called them, and what they said was the gas rates have increased by 40%. And so I did pull the ones from a year ago in August. That bill was $558.38. This August, it was $874.89. So everything is on the increase, so that's how that went.
Okay, I need a vote on repairing the softball dugouts at Grand Junction.
Yeah, back in, December 15th of 21, windstorm came through, took out, part of the fence and that one dugout. We do have, money from the insurance that we could get it fixed. We just need to vote on if we want to do it. Technically, liability-wise, we can't have anybody playing ball there without that fence, without the dugout there. Personally, I'd love to see slow pitch softball, kickball, any kind of games being played there safely and tournament-wise, all summer long, but that's me. So you just need to tell me, did you say that's how much we'll get? from
Yes,
insurance?
yes.
If we vote on it, we'll have $3,639.49 to fix that fence and dugout. And
Are we gonna fix it ourselves or?
that's a really good question. I have no idea if this is something, like, as you mean, like Rod can do?
Yeah.
I don't know, Rod, can
I
you?
can do it.
Okay,
Maybe we can get some help too from
Yeah.
some volunteers or something.
and this is a silly question, and Brett, I'm sorry to ask you, but the fence that's been removed, is it completely junk and gone and cannot be put back up?
I don't remember, but if it's still around the out the sewer plant,
Okay,
that's, I'm really not sure.
yeah, me either, but thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess-
We need to repair it. I'm hoping that the Parks and Recs this year can do like you're suggesting, that maybe we start out with 1 or 2 tournaments and see if we can get something going again in town.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and get the softball dugout fencing fixed.
I'll
Second.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes. So which one of
And
you,
have-
Mark?
Have Rod take care of it.
As much of it as he can,
Yeah.
yes, between Rod and volunteer help, yes.
Aye.
Hi.
New business, workman's compensation. You want to explain that?
Well, the workman's comp that we had, you have to send in information to them. They do an audit and you have to send information back into them. And our workman's comp rates are based on the liability of whatever somebody is doing. Like if you're a secretary or city clerk, you're not as apt to get hurt as your street man would be out filling holes. And so, and then the fire department has to send in their own stuff. And everything was not sent in on time and they chose to cancel us because of it. So now we have to get a new workman's comp insurer, which we can, but now they are requesting money up front for this new insurance. And 70% down payment is what they are asking for. The invoice balance is $3,724. I don't know, I was not at that meeting, but I don't know if the 75%, if that number is the 75% or if it's 75% of that to get us started.
The way she told me, it was, the way I took it, was 75% of that.
Of that, okay. And so I don't do math in my head, so it will be somewhere around $3,000 is what we need to approve to get the workman's
Which will
comp.
be a little bit higher, quite a bit higher than the old policy.
It'll be, yeah.
Now tell me, this workman's comp, potential new one, it's good, you do it for a year?
Yes, when we were in the process of being told that they thought they were gonna cancel us, I had asked, when can we get back with this other insurance? The other workman's comp, the original workman's comp that we had was at a better rate.
Right,
And we didn't get done what we should have got done. And so I said, how soon can we go back to them? And she said, hopefully next July 1st.
okay.
If not, it might be a little
And
bit
did we get
longer.
reimbursement from the old one?
That's what they're doing now. They, payment stops tomorrow on the old insurance. I've got stuff to turn in based on what everybody's job description is. And then we should get some back from that.
Okay, so this new insurance will take some of the information that we didn't get to them, the old one, and that'll work for,
Well-
is there some?
That will be based from tomorrow forward.
Okay.
But Rod has a spreadsheet that he does that tells everything he does on a daily basis, makes it really easy to be able to plug that in.
Okay.
The rest of them are a lot simpler.
Okay,
So we should be okay. And it just got lost in the crossfire. So I make a motion to pay this 75% and get this new workman's comp insurance started.
A second.
I,
Aye.
Safety grant ideas, Lyons.
ICAP, our insurance has a $1,000 grant that we can get. We have to buy safety things. You've got in your packet the list of things. I just want to make a motion that we go ahead and get this ICAP grant and get this, safety things bought and taken care of.
I second.
I
Presentation of the 144 CHI matching grant program, Hoskinson.
Okay, yeah, we've got the 144 grant presenters here, and I'm just gonna let them take over and let them do their spiel.
Okay, good to be here. Hi, I'm Alan Robinson, Mary Weaver, Kate Neese. Our 144 corridor highway, our housing initiative, basically was formed throughout the summer months through some discussions. We've all been aware of a lot of the talk in Greene County about the need for housing. And a lot of that has come through Greene County Development Corporation. Oftentimes that's been centered on some of the major manufacturers. We have Bauer Built, John Deere, and Peyton, Scranton Manufacturer on the side. But we all need some housing, but it seems to have been mostly developed in Jefferson. So being that we're all small individual towns, it's kind of hard to go about this singly. So we kind of grouped together Mary and I had some initial discussions, and we didn't really want to call our group East Green because that's sort of past tense, and we really wanted to incorporate Peyton just because of the fact they've been in the discussion and they are in this part of the county. So we came up with the 144 corridor. We had several meetings, and that was kind of a job of three things. So it's the 144 corridor housing initiative, shorthand 144 CHI or 144 CHI. Now, we sat down to reach out to John Wrigley III, owner of the People's Bank chains, and they have 4 of those banks in Greene County. And we worked with Derek, our local bank representative, market president, and he brought John to the table. John came up from the Clive office, but they also brought in 2 individuals from Ogden. Tracy Van Sickle is a mortgage officer at the bank over there in Ogden for People's, and her husband's on a group called Ogden Legacy. So through this discussion, Derek was able to present to us, because he's been involved with this group called Ogden Legacy, which was formed 5 or 6 years ago in Ogden specifically to address housing in that community. So we all have a pretty familiarity with Ogden, so we really could see kind of how they went about this. And as Ogden was moving forward, Fairway came into their picture, and Fairway wanted to build that new store in downtown Ogden on Main Street. But they were asking the community to come up with 100 new housing units. And that would bring about 500 people to Fairway, to the community. And I'm imagining they did this because they wanted to make sure to guarantee that store is going to have a client base, employee base. So because this Ogden Legacy had been in place already, and they started with a sort of a fix-up grant to do improvements on exteriors of homes, they had already moved forward to some degree, and they were ready to have big dialogues about bringing in new housing developers. So we took the template that they presented to us for their exterior matching grant program, and that is the first phase of what we're doing here with 144 CHI. It's a program breaks down into 3 main points: improving, clearing, and building. And what we're focusing on now in our first phase is the improving. So you have in your packet, we have our mission statement. We're improving the attractiveness and availability of housing in our communities. We have our board members. Mary Weaver here from Rippey is our chair. John Wrigley III, the Peoples, is our vice chair. I'm the secretary. Derek Kennedy, our own local banker, is treasurer. Our board members are Candy Smith, Jake Bonet, and Kate Neese. So we've had quite a few meetings throughout the summer and into the fall. One thing we accomplished right off the bat, Peoples were very helpful. John Wrigley III, staff, and they moved forward our need to develop bylaws, getting our 501c3 nonprofit status. So we put the bylaws together, we reviewed them, we selected our board members, and so everything's been filed away with the Secretary of State. So we are a real deal nonprofit, and in the process of actually raising funds. So I want to focus right now on this particular page here in your packet. It's called Improving Housing. This is pretty much the gist of where we are at this point in time. So this is all under the Exterior Matching Grant Program. The purpose is to increase the property values and improve the general attractiveness and availability of housing in our communities. Now remember, we're working in 4 different communities, so it involves a little bit of extra effort there. Comparatively, Ogden was just the one. Now, eligible projects would be any project that improves the attractiveness of the exterior of a home and increases the value of an existing owner-occupied or single-family rental home within city limits. And special consideration will be given to applicants using local suppliers and contractors. Now, the grant amounts will be up to 50% of a total project cost with a maximum grant of $1,000 per home. So if somebody puts together a proposal or application that's a $4,000 project, we will give them up to $1,000. If it's an $800 project, we'll give them 50% of that. That's $400. So now the applicants must be submitted on or before April 15th. So the funds can be applied to any work started within the calendar year and completed by November 30th. So the request for payment must be submitted by December 12th. So we're getting ready to ramp this up at the beginning of the year, get all the word out. Then they'll come in, submit the applications, we'll review them, give them the green light, they go ahead, then they come back with the completed application. We'll probably do a review of the project, and then we distribute the funds if they met all those benchmarks. Funding availability, grants will be given until funds are depleted. Here's the process, as I just explained, an owner completes an application detailing the project cost and timeline, submission to be made to the 144CH1 board prior to deadline. And like I said, the awards will be made available after the expense has been incurred and documentation provided. There's also a little scorecard in there. I won't go over that specifically because I know you've got time, but I want to turn this over to Kate, because Kate and Alan, these have done some really extensive repurposing or modeling of some homes here in Grand Junction to handle the employees they need in their business.
Well, we, as you know, we hire H2A workers. We hire workers from South Africa. And we bought Rick Comer's property. And so we've revamped that. And I hope you drive by because it's so much nicer.
Great.
And then other property we bought Arvis Gross. So when we get our workers from the airport, we say, we're gonna take you to the Gross house. And I said, that's not because it's Gross. I said, that's the name of the lady we bought it from. So, and then we just hired a guy. We worked on the interior of the house, and then we just hired a guy, and he had painted the outside, and he changed the wood around the windows and did some kind of stuff there. So, and then we bought another house down the street from us, and we're in the process of getting that resited. So, I mean, we kind of understand the monies it takes to redo and revamp houses that need a little extra TLC. So that's kind of,
Plus you repainted the Chuck and Arvis Gross house, right?
right,
Did a lot of work there, looks great.
you know, it just, takes a lot of time, and that's kind of why I want to get on the story, because we need help here. And even if people need help demolishing their house, I think I think a nice green space is just as pretty as planting a flower, so that's another thing too to look into. And our grants can be, as small as replacing a window, one window a year, something like that. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a big poop-de-doo. It could be paint a house, or, replace a window, something like that. So if we can get the word out, little steps, baby steps, little by little, maybe this can be something that can grow into a nice project for our town.
I guess I have a question for you.
There's still a little more, but you go ahead and ask the question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Special consideration given to applicants utilizing local suppliers and contractors. What do you consider local?
That would be in Greene County.
Okay.
Just a minute, what about Albany? They're involved in this one.
I don't know if they have those kind of services,
Because
things to sell in Ogden for,
my siting county I get is in Albany,
well, if the other applicants from, Carroll, and you'd be closer.
Yeah.
So,
But you said something, you were taking Albany into consideration on this.
well, what I meant was Ogden compared to, say, what's going on in
Okay,
Jefferson.
you're using them as a,
Easier to handle, yeah. It's a little more, you can picture Ogden, they don't have a lot of great development going on per se right now, where Jefferson has. So it's easier to kind of contrast, compare what's going on. Although they're being tasked right now, should we probably go through this?
Sure.
Right.
If you'll find this page in your handouts, I'm gonna talk to you about that, and then also talk to you about the money. What we did is look at the 4 communities and the population as it would break down for the 1,204 people that live in the 4 communities. Grand Junction, you're the largest, you are 60% of the population. Rippey and Peyton are very similar, and then Dana at 3.2%. Our population, you all know, has really gone down the last 2 decades. The last 2 censuses, Rippey, and I'm from Rippey, has gone down to about 200 people. So anything we can do to help improve housing so that we can get people to move to any of our 4 communities will be helpful. So that's part of the gist of what we're attempting to do. We have gone now to all of the city councils. You happen to be the last one, just because of when you meet, not because you were last on the list. But we've gone to Dana and Peyton and Rippey, and we have asked those people for 10% of their Grow Green County funds. Making sure that you comprehend when we say Grow Green County, that's not taxpayer dollars. Those are monies that you receive as a municipality. Last year, we think you got $45,000 from Grand Junction. So for Grand Junction, so 10% of that would be about $4,500 that we would be asking. You're not the only ones that are giving money. We originally had $5,000 that came from People's Bank. That's being split between Grand Junction and Rippey. Greene County Development Corporation gave us $5,000 after we presented. Rolling Hills Bank, which is in Rippey, gave $2,500. Home State Bank gave $2,500. We've appeared before the Board of Supervisors, and we're going to be asking them for Louis Dreyfus funds, probably $5,000, that's the amount they usually give. And Community State Bank in Peyton has not given us a dollar amount, but they are very supportive and said, depending upon the projects that come out of their community, they will be supportive. Now, go back to the population one, because that's going to be like your worst story problem when you were in 4th grade. What we're going to do is, because Home State Bank has given $2,500, that money will be divided between the 4 communities based upon the population. Because Rolling Hills Bank in Rippey gave $2,500, that whole amount is going to stay in Rippey. Does that make sense to you? The funds that each of the communities give from their Grow Green County, those funds will stay within the community as well. So we're trying to be very transparent about it, but when the money comes, it's going to be money that stays within your community if at all possible. Making sense? Sure.
Can you tell me what happened to Scranton?
Well, they're not on Highway 144.
I know they're not, but you guys didn't even consider
No, because this is an initiative that we're doing on the east side of Greene County. If Scranton wants to,
them?
they
I mean,
could
you
do it.
covered every town but Scranton. I mean, I know.
No, sure
Scranton.
can.
Scranton has a nice group there that is doing some revitalization
They
already. Yeah,
probably need housing in Scranton with all the jobs they have over there.
right. And they've got a nice business over there that really helps them as well, so.
Would there be any case, you said if at all possible, the monies that come out of this community would be kept here if at all possible? In what case would we be can you think of anything that would make us send money that we didn't use here to one of the other communities?
No.
Okay, so I'm just questioning, you just basically put that in
So
there?
like, yeah, next year, whatever it is, there's no request, and we have $5,000 in this account. It's just gonna stay there until somebody does decide to do their windows or paint or whatever they decide.
And so it just builds up if nobody turns it
But-
back in?
We're gonna be depending on you folks, people, the librarians, churches, other civic organization groups to help us provide this information and encourage people to apply. And there are no, what I'll call, requirements or regiment, you have to be only on your Social Security. If you want to, you can have 5 acres of land and put in a new door, whatever you'd like.
When Derek had explained it to me before too, because I said, what about landlords? How many houses do they get to do? And he said, a landlord can apply 1 time a year
That's right,
or whatever.
for one
One
resident,
house,
one
okay.
house.
All right. So they're not gonna suck up all the,
Not gonna suck up all the money.
okay.
I'm feeling like I have my back to people.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions back here or over here? Okay, Kate and Alan, do we want to say anything else? We didn't really talk too much about
Clearing,
clearing. Would you like to
Building.
talk about that?
Well, we'll always be having these discussions. And when we first started talking this summer amongst ourselves and others, a lot of that discussion was around building new homes. But we have to start here at the grassroots level and get comfortable, get the community comfortable, get each city council comfortable. So we've had good presentations, it seems agreeable. Now we have to get out there and really make the program happen. But we are looking downrange and making that. I know you guys made a good step here locally when the community betterment, they're back and they're taking care of the Grundon property, and I know that's been on the books as a problem for a long time, so, yeah, progress comes a little slowly sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah.
When do we need to make a decision on this, that yes, we're in and we will say yes to the 4,500 a year, or no, we don't wanna be in on it? When do we need to do this by?
If you could do that at your December meeting, that would be great, because then in January, as we're starting to put out the applications and put out the information about this project, then we would know how much would be available. I was really happy when we went to the Ripley City Council meeting. They said they would give 10%, as did Dana and Peyton. But the mayor said, oh, that means that we'll have 6.4 homes that could possibly be updated. So if you can decide it tonight, or, well, you probably can't decide tonight, but at your December meeting would be helpful.
And if you have more questions between then and now, just reach out to anyone, so.
Okay,
Could this go for somebody that wants to get rid of an old house and build a new one? Could that be part of tearing down the old one?
That could be part of clearing, I would think.
Do you have some guidelines when it exactly be used for?
Yes, that's a good question, Jerry.
yeah.
It's to be used only for exterior, and we're mimicking that from Ogden, is that they are attempting to make their community look better, so it's only exterior.
The term they use is curb appeal.
Okay.
And who decides who gets the grants?
The group does, we'll review those things, and we have a scorecard here that we have in our packet.
And that's why we have people from each of the communities, because people in our communities know our area. And so that's why.
And we envision doing before and after pictures, so that, we know what it looked like before, this is what it looked like after, so that we're trying to be very transparent and objective as much as possible.
And also a point that Derek made, say the applicant lives on a major street in the community, and somebody else lives on like a little 2-block stretch. The one on that major street or to take precedence over that because of the overall curb appeal, that more people would see that project. I mean, if they're like tied, so to speak, but, so we're looking at all aspects, something like that too.
He also indicated to me too, that it could be a difference, if you've got room out front to put a deck out in front of your house versus somebody who, they have a fenced in backyard and you want to put a deck back there that nobody's going to see. The person with the front going out, making the front more beautiful is probably going to be higher rated. There's a whole bunch of things that they rate it on, but that person's going to be higher rated than somebody who's going to be in their closed in backyard because nobody's going to see it anyway.
Will that information be put out to the people?
Oh,
How
yeah,
that's gonna work,
Yeah.
just like you just said just there?
right. And then also safety is a concern. If somebody has a front step that's, gonna fall in, that's gonna be a priority as well. When you look at the scorecard, property value, curb appeal, safety, urgency, location, and perceived need, and then that special consideration is using local contractors.
Jefferson had a similar program a couple years ago, but it was just for sidewalks. If they would, a property owner put in a new sidewalk in, the city of Jefferson matched half of that. So,
And this would work on new sidewalks too.
And even we have discussed it as a board, even trees that need to be taken down, they're unsightly and they're unsafe, so that funds could be used to be requested for tree removal.
or shrubbery. Oh, that's good. Anything that improves the.
When you say local, so like if I was gonna have my front deck redone, I don't have one, but, local would be somebody from Jefferson, not Grand Junction. to do
Pretty
it.
much like Tri-County.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like I have to keep everything in Grand Junction, because where am I gonna get?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Menards and Des Moines versus say.
Right, I got you, I just wanna make
Or if
sure.
people wanna do it themselves too.
Right, no, I just wanna make sure, it's like, okay, there's no way I can go and go replace my sidewalk. stuff.
Or Ogden, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Haley Grubs owns, you know, Ogden Feed and
Mhm.
that
Right.
big store over
I just
there.
wanted to verify that I didn't have to come up with somebody. Right.
Good questions. I'll make the appeal, we'd like to request 10% of your Grove Green County funds as a municipality.
Well, I think it sounds like a good program. I think it's a great start for Grand Junction. We've talked about different homes that need updated paint, something.
I'd like to just, think on it, think on it a little bit, read through this when I'm not under pressure, and then, we may. Sitting here, yeah, there are a lot of.
I'd say we table it and come back on.
Yeah, we didn't have a
the
vote.
December meeting and discuss it. and vote on
Yeah.
it.
I think that sounds,
And if you need us to come back when you discuss it, we'd be happy to.
Well, we're very lucky we got some group like this to take the
Yes.
initiative to get us
Yes,
started.
thank you.
Everybody talks about it, but didn't know how to do it.
It all happened a lot faster, I think, we even had to, but the support of the contributors is really, really kind of amazing.
well, thank you for the presentation and
Thank you.
for coming and spending your time explaining it to us and answering questions.
I'll have to do just a quick anecdote. Jerry, I kept my shoes on tonight because when Jerry and I were in the school board, I took my loafer off and he got it away from me under my chair without my knowing it. It went clear around to the other end of the table when I went to put my shoes on.
I never-
Jerry, I kept my shoes on.
Is that the
You'll
Hillman
never
part of
forget that.
the
Thank you, people.
That sounds like something Jerry might.
Yeah, yeah,
Say it.
a little sketchy.
A little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On this next one,
Oh, he's gotta read it first, Kenny, hold up.
Vote on Mayor Herrick for use of land for overflow brush during the 2020 direction. Madesen.
yeah, I want to make a motion to wait, because I think within the next couple of weeks, we will get the last check from FEMA, and we'll know one way or the other, and then we can make our decision. Is that fine with everybody? I mean, it's a motion, do whatever you
So
want.
table the
Just table it.
paying of it. I just have a couple questions on this. Why did we use your dump instead of the dump that we already had?
When this happened, as you remember, it was so bad.
Mhm.
The city dump was completely packed, you couldn't even get in the gate. And they were still trying to haul trees and stuff. So I made this deal. Well, Brett and Barbara and I, when we wrote out the thing, of all the, what a guy donated, and I donated a lot, so did everybody, didn't me, but the machinery and everything. And I said, the thing I won't donate, you can use this lot, but I won't donate that. I want paid for it for $200. And of course, the people started hauling it in there, and when Thorpe chipped it, he brought his chipper down, it was part of the whole program, they chipped that up too and hauled it off, I don't know where they took it, but they hauled it off,
And so there was nothing left there on your property?
nothing.
And anything that you had on there before was also chipped and removed?
There was nothing on there before, it was bare,
There was nothing on there
there
before?
was nothing, because I just had gotten rid of it all.
Did anybody okay that at the time? Do we have anybody that said, you know, with
Well, it was
you,
it was kind of an emergency, everybody was not for place to take the trees, and it was just kind of,
were you mayor at the time?
I don't know. Yes, he says it was.
So, 2020.
Is that legal?
No, I wasn't mayor. This is just the start of my second year.
No, you were.
But you were mayor before
when I got
that.
hired.
So he was mayor?
Yes, because it was 2020, that's the year I was hired with the city.
So is it legal for the mayor to do that? To say, and,
I don't know, I asked Dan Brudenbreaker, and he says, I never, he says, they paid me. What I did. He's Mayor Ricky. I said,
okay,
we figured it up. I can't remember how much it figured the donation labor I come with, the machinery and the machine hire, and which I donated.
but.
That's beside the point, really. We're only
But
really talking
but I
about
said,
land.
well, it's all in one list, and I
Well, I
said, this
know, but
part
there-
I won't donate.
But there were a lot of other people that donated time and machinery.
I'm not saying anything about it.
Right.
I'm-
And, I mean, I guess at what point do the rest of us that donated time and machinery get to say, well, you know, we don't wanna, you know, we used our backhoe for X amount of hours,
Well, the problem was, we had no place to put them.
but they were pushing the pile up at the time, correct?
No,
You just had to
not at
wait.
that time they weren't, there was no place. They came in with readers and pushed it up finally.
But they were pushing it up like the first or second day, weren't they?
It was full, I can tell you that.
Okay, well, Kenny wants to table it, I'm fine with tabling it, and we can ponder this a little bit and think about what we wanna do,
I would hope that we have a check by the next meeting. They
But-
gotta close out the end of the year.
You think there's gonna be a check that says Jerry Herrick gets $200?
It might say something in the paperwork where this, all of this stuff adds together to one check. It might say, this is for this, this is for
What,
this.
was it sent in? I mean, I will talk about it later, but we already got a FEMA check, and was it sent in?
I don't know. Do you, Brent?
Pardon?
Do you know if Jerry's stuff was sent in or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I had, when I did the list, it was everybody. I mean, I had
That's why
But it
Larry, I had
that's why
Brian, I
we're
had
waiting.
Yeah, but it was, on that list was everybody's name that donated something, whether, like, I'm gonna say Keith Hoskinson used his background,
I know for. a
or
fact-
whatever,
Yes, there
and
was
you know,
5
you
or
didn't
6
list,
names.
yeah, but you didn't list Keith Hoskinson, $200 for whatever, needs reimbursement or anything like that. It was all just who donated or
Who
volunteered.
donated what equipment.
They have-
And then,
Yeah.
but FEMA has their own
Scale
pay scale.
Gotcha.
of what,
And so we put down everybody that we could, if I remember right, we put down everybody that we could that had donated whatever, understanding that even though, like, we donated our time and stuff on that, we're not getting that back and we're fine with that. But if it's something that the city can then get back and be reimbursed for this, then great. Okay, I second did you make a motion to
Yes.
table it? I will second the motion to table it, and we'll ponder it and see what comes in when the check comes in, see if there's any explanation on it.
Fine.
Did you say aye?
I did not, but I said I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I guess I was la la land, sorry.
Vote on purchasing or leasing new tractor, Madison.
if we wanna make a motion, we either wanna lease or we wanna buy. That's the motion. And the reason, who wants to pay over $1,000 a month to lease something and we have nothing to show for it at the end of the lease?
Do you have any figures?
I don't have figures, but we're starting to get some.
Rod had called out to readers, and
I've got some figures, but I don't have them with me.
So-
We're looking brand new, we're looking about 91,000.
but right now, this vote is strictly, are we going to lease again, or are we going to purchase?
Right.
So either new or used.
Right, here's the other thing we need to keep in mind. It has to be at least 100 horse, because that's for the generator that's supposed to back up the sewer. If we have to run that generator out there, we need a tractor of at least 100 horse.
well, and I do want to add to that too. Readers did say that we do need a bigger tractor because of what we use it for.
Right,
It's too much wear and tear on that smaller tractor.
right. And so when you first started talking to them, just off the top of my head, wasn't the quote for like, to lease one that's 100 horsepower, wasn't that gonna be roughly $1,000 a month?
Roughly about.
Roughly $1,000 a month.
That's based
So,
on how much we put down to start with. I mean,
is it
I think we have to, put, maybe 10% down, maybe.
to lease?
That's usually part of the lease.
Okay, I've never leased a thing in my life, I don't have any idea. I guess in my mind, I would rather buy something and know that it's ours, and if we take care of it, then, 10 years, we can still have a tractor here, where otherwise if you lease, then however long the lease is up, then you have to think about either leasing again or purchasing. The price of everything has gone up and we own nothing.
Leasing is usually used in reference to, for tax situation. We don't pay tax.
Right,
Right now, there's a lot of new incentives out for extended warranties on new tractors too. Better than has been, but that's just,
So Jerry, your statement that leasing is better for taxes,
That's like, there's sales when used cars up, but there's probably an hour deal on leasing a tractor too.
right.
It's like a salesman has a car, there's a mile.
right?
And
Go over the
they do
mileage,
it
you gotta
so
pay.
they can have a new car, they know what their expense is gonna be. They would
why,
do it every year or 2 years or something. We're
Why-
usually locked into a 5-year deal. We don't know how many hours we're gonna have on that. It could go over.
Why did we lease the tractor we leased?
Right now, the hours are 300 hours a year.
and we're at what
And
now?
if you go over it, then you're gonna pay a lot.
Why did you lease the tractor you did? What was the incentive at that time? We
Because we couldn't afford to time the full amount to buy a tractor.
okay.
And the payments on the one we have are 500 something a month.
The lease
Lease
on our
payment.
tractor was $500.
And
Well,
we-
it's
and-
somewhere in that figure.
And we didn't want to take out a loan and pay $500 a month on a loan.
Yeah, of course, I don't know.
Okay,
That's-
okay. So what are you making a motion?
I'm making a
Oh, I'm
motion,
sorry.
do we want to lease or do we want to buy? It's either you want to lease or you want to buy, just whatever, which one you want.
I don't have enough information. I just don't feel like I wanna know what it's gonna cost to lease and what it's gonna cost to buy.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the lease, you have nothing. You start over again.
Yeah, but we still need to know a monthly.
And if you go over on your hours, you're gonna pay.
The one that we thought we had out to readers was, correct me if I'm wrong, but $1,000 a month to lease, and they were thinking 3 years. Is that right?
It's gonna be 3 years.
3-year lease. And I don't think that did it have the buckets?
It,
Did it have the forks?
It
And
had
it
the
probably
They
didn't have the
have a
clam.
raffle. They would need to raffle.
Right,
yeah, we would have to get that.
we would have to get the grapple.
Oh, they're not going to lease those, you're going to buy them out.
Yeah, you have to buy them now.
But they should adapt to anything if. we
Well,
would
it's
ever
got to
get
have
something else.
it's got to have 3 hydraulic systems or whatever. I mean,
Okay.
that's why we couldn't hook one up on.
Three quick couplers.
What is it?
Three sets of quick couplers.
So, does anybody want to vote on this, or do we want to table it and get more information on what a lease is going to cost, or?
Well, if we're getting bids on new/used, I'm pretty sure we can just go ahead and get bids on a leased 100 horsepower tractor that has the, everything we need.
The only bid I could get is
No.
from Readers, they're the only ones that will lease.
Okay.
And at this point, that was the $1,000, is that what it was?
Rough, yeah, give or take,
These other
And
tractor companies just don't want to lease.
was that what was that, Kubota or their, another kind? What were their?
They can do the Kubota or they could do the case, but the case is gonna be probably 1,500,
Right, more.
somewhere in there.
Mhm. I guess if we're gonna get bids to buy a tractor, and we're gonna get bids on a used one, let's get bids on a leased one, and then we'll have it all in front of us.
Now,
Yeah.
we're kind of on a timeline, we've got, it takes 3 to 4 months to get one in. So if we could have maybe another session,
Just a second, when is our lease up on the?
May.
May, okay.
so we're kind of,
Do we have to wait till May before we can have to do something? Or
Well,
can we do it ahead of time?
We can't buy it out, they don't wanna do that.
Well, if we can't get one till May, why would we buy a
Well, no,
contract?
I agree, but I mean, we went that route earlier, we asked them if, say if we bought it, and they thought maybe that if they could get what to sell it for what, then we wouldn't have to worry about a buyout, but if it didn't, then we'd have to pay the difference. If we were gonna do it early.
Right, but we can't, because we can't get a tractor anyway.
Right, that's true.
Okay. So, we're gonna,
And I don't know which one of you two can answer this question, but at least one would be brand spanking new. Or is it gonna have hours on it? Or does it come to us
It
used?
could have ours, at least one.
We don't know how much.
Well, I mean,
Warranty
You
guarantee,
buy a used tractor straight out too.
at least would probably more likely be a used one.
Not
No, we don't know.
necessarily, but it may have 50 hours on it, may have 25, that's not considered anything on a tractor.
They said, we're getting a 2-year-old
I
tractor.
haven't done it for a long time,
It was
but
brand new for us.
on the operations I had, farming, leasing didn't work for me.
Well, it's because farmers get the tax write-off, and that's why they do that. And we had Todd
Yeah.
Reader told us that
Yeah.
is strictly why farmers get new tractors. They need the tax write-off.
Right.
And obviously, we just need a tractor. The tax write-off thing is not important to us.
okay, so at the next meeting, we'll come with, and you said that so far Readers is the only one that will lease. So come with their bid to lease, come with, a couple of bids to buy new. And then if you can find something and, if you come with bids to,
That used
Buy
stuff don't-
used, I
don't
mean,
stay around long.
well, and that's the thing, we'll just have to,
I
Go.
pulled some off the internet, just kind of give you an idea, but I've got the new, I don't have a lease, but I'll get the lease.
okay, bring that information in the next meeting that we have. So we're just gonna table this, what to do with the,
Well, as that lease goes along with that, why don't we also get us a price on what one of those things costs for
a clam.
because we're gonna have to buy that outright, we're not gonna get that in a lease program.
But if we if we decide to go like with a new, if we would decide to go with the new tractor, then we could maybe put that in with the deal on that new tractor too, so that might
Yeah.
make a difference.
Maybe.
But yeah, that should, if we're gonna lease, we need to have that also.
This bigger tractor can pull the box scraper, right?
Well,
We don't have to
the
use
100
yours.
horse has always been a requirement because of the sewer. I don't know why.
That's a 3-phase generator, it takes.
But the one we would need to get, will pull the box scraper with no trouble.
Oh, no.
If I was a street guy, would have bought that, and we couldn't use it back then.
Is there 2 of them out there?
No, it's just one.
So
What's that line?
we're gonna table it. Okay, everybody agree with, okay, we're gonna table it.
I make a motion, we table the tractor lease buy thing, we get the rest of the information from Rod at the next meeting we have.
I'll second.
Aye.
And did we want anybody to come in and talk about somebody that knows what they're talking about,
If they can do it in 5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less?
There's some pamphlets or something.
Let's kick that around.
Who's done?
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Main Street repair bids, Freeman.
Oh, boy. Okay, I got 3 bids. Might be confusing, but I'll go over it, I'll try to go over it. Brian's came over, I told him that what could we do to fix it that would cost us an arm and a leg. To fix the hole from, let's see, where is that?
Pouches,
South
full of
9th to 13th.
whatever.
To
it
fix
is.
everything, it's gonna be $173,000.
What do you mean by fixing everything?
Like milling down,
But you're still just talking that stretch of
Main Street.
to match the easement,
$173,000.
Yeah, it's right here.
I don't know where you're gonna find that money.
Well, problem is, like everybody knows, the price is going up on everything. Fuel's going up, 40% on fuel for next year. The blacktop itself has gone up big time too. And it's hurting them too, but this is what they have to do. I mean, fuel's killing everything.
They still got all these other holes in town fixed.
Who fixed?
We're gonna decide if we want to fix this or leave it alone and just say forget it, okay? Now, to put a 4-inch patch over it, and they'll mill down the humps so you don't feel that, and they'll fix all the intersections where it comes in. It's $89,700. For Dodge asphalt, $109,000, that's doing everything. He came up here too and looked at it. And that's a little bit better than that 173.
Yeah.
The other one was inroads, 119,000.
Who did, Brett, who did the
Inroads.
inroads?
That's all I've got.
So we weren't voting on this anyway, we were just discussing it and looking at it. Okay.
Yes, these bids are only good for 30 days too, and then they have to come back and rebid it, if we decide to do it.
And so this would be something that maybe we could apply for Road Green County grants to.
I thought about doing that way it'll pay for half, so let's say we went with 89,000.
If we were blessed enough to get it, it would pay for at least a portion of it.
Who did the road, who did you say did the road, it's already done, inroads?
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody win the lottery.
That would have been nice, wouldn't it? Okay.
And Ron, is this basically just to finish Main Street?
It'll finish everything else there.
Okay.
And then once that is done, then we can start on like the next year. I mean, other than patching, we can try to figure out what we're gonna do with some of these other streets that are.
Yeah, I would really like to see, I don't know, I'd like to see one road done a year.
Absolutely.
You either do it or you keep filling potholes. You know, and potholes are gonna come back.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
we're moving on.
Yes, please.
Vote on custodian for community center. No,
Yeah, since January, I've been trying to take care of the community center, getting things fixed, trying to keep it clean, and I'm tired of it. So we used to have a custodian that we paid $20 an hour on call, and we would use him after a rental, or if we hadn't rented any of the rooms in 2 weeks, we might have them come in and clean the toilets just to make sure that we don't have the staining that we had before. And so I'm ready to hang up my mop. And typically it's gonna probably take about, once we finish, it's gonna take about 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours a month to keep.
when you got somebody in mind or you're gonna bid for it
Well,
or?
what we thought we'd do is use Facebook and put it out on Facebook
The
and see,
community center website essentially. is what
Yes.
you're-
and see if we get people that are interested in doing that, because it's gonna be on call. It's not, you're not gonna make a lot of money, but
Fill up in half.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like a motion that we go ahead and hire somebody now.
I second it.
Aye.
And
Thanks.
I'm gonna take care of that.
Yes.
Summerfest Committee.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You guys want it on the agenda, so here you go.
So we want to say that we had a pretty successful year last year. We did become our own 501c3, so that's official as of August 30th. Shout out to Janice Sherrington for helping us through that.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, a lot of paperwork, came back a couple of times, but that's okay. So we are planning on this year, August 4th and 5th, same weekend, so we can be with the Lyons Club with the car show, incorporate that. We're working on final plans. Yes. August 4th and 5th. We are getting a different carnival. We're actually gonna use Scott Amusement. I did talk to him the other day. He came and met with us at our last meeting. Up class, I don't know how to say it, but they're, top of the class, let's just put it that way. And, they're out of Pilot Mountain, so they're just down the road, okay? And then we, if you guys maybe next month can put it on the agenda to vote for us to use the same spot that we did. That's where we'd like to have it again, just because it's in that central area. We're gonna start working with other groups in town to get more help than just the 14 of us, trying to do this all on our own. We're planning on having a tractor pull. That will be on Marty and I's property, so it won't be anything on the city property, because I don't think anybody wants everything torn up. So we're gonna use the old practice field to do that. So that's an update on that. And then we wanted to talk about our financials. This information has been changed a little bit since I gave it to you all back in August.
Maybe pass a couple
Oh,
more, that's
yeah.
all one pack.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
So this is, I had sent this information on August 26th to Paula and Mary, and the information they had was we owe you $9,000. We owe you like $2,100 or $2,200. We have all the information from the bank, we have all the receipts, all the proof of it. It's slightly different than what I did send you, Paula, because unfortunately, some of the funds did not come through that we thought would. They will be coming, but when you're dealing with big corporations, sometimes people think they cut a check and they didn't. So anyhow, there's all the proof in the pudding, so to speak. So we're just wondering where we're at with that, if it's been resolved or when it will be resolved.
At this time, we are still working. Our financials were not balanced past April. Wendy is brand new and the system is apparently not friendly to new people from everything that I've heard. And so if you are off a little bit, it's like balancing your checkbook at home. If you're off, you have to go clear back in. So we're hoping to get it done. We're still working on it. When we get it done, then we'll know a little bit more and we can get with you. At this time, we still don't know. We're not trying to keep the information from you at all. We simply don't know. And so we have to go by what our statements show. And so I don't want to say one way or the other. I just can't.
Well, all the statements are there and all the
Right.
deposits are there. It's highlighted who the monies were
Right.
on those dates, whose deposits were involved in that.
Right,
So
we-
we've done our due diligence. We want,
Sure, and I mean, we're not trying to screw you guys out of money at all, we have to go by the books that we have and our books aren't balanced, and so therefore we just can't. And as soon as it gets done, we'll get with you, I swear we will, and we'll, go from there, and if we've got discrepancies, we'll work on it and get it figured out, but right now, we simply don't know. And
any
can't.
like timeframe or,
I would hope by the end of the year.
okay.
I mean, that would be my hope, but I can't help. We're doing the best that we can. This is not the only issue that we're waiting for things to
Sure.
get balanced on. And I guess I get that it's a big thing for you guys, but in the scheme of the whole town, this is kind of, we will get to it. We promise you we will as soon as we can, but we've got other stuff that has to get balanced to keep the town running. It has to get balanced. So that's our first priority.
Do we need to vote today? Do you want us to vote today about using the schoolyard? I mean, other than the financial part of it, and you don't want me to help with it because that would be terrible. But I can vote right now on whether, I can make a motion to
yeah,
vote.
We don't have it down to vote. I don't
Oh,
think
then
we
never
can
mind.
But if you can at the next meeting,
Okay,
then
so-
let us know, because like we have paperwork and all kinds of stuff we have to fill out,
Okay.
and I don't wanna send anything into somebody and they're like, oh, sorry. we
And
don't have that.
insurance, so you guys will have insurance on the grounds and all that, so that the city carries no liability for that?
No matter what, the city has
The city
liability.
is still gonna have.
But we are filling out insurance paperwork, thus I need to have the okay that we can use that
What-
address. Yes.
So if we come, obviously, we'll have another meeting in December, and we can vote on the date. Is there something else that you need us to vote on, like, kind of right now to
No,
get a ball rolling?
We just need the okay that we can use that property, and then we can continue to do what we need to do, so.
And could I also ask that insurance thing, will you address your concerns on that Rip Jones?
On the insurance,
Yeah, because she will go ahead and she'll tell you.
make sure what you guys need, to make
Yes.
sure that you have what is needed,
Correct.
whatever,
Yeah.
yes,
And so that we're kosher with both.
right. And I don't know if there's anything else, having a tractor pull, I don't know squat about it, but is that something that special insurance is required
Marty and Linda Hoffman's
That would be
insurance will
my-
cover that.
for that? Okay,
We've already talked to Unger,
okay,
so.
yeah, we'll put that on the agenda for the next
Okay.
time we get
You guys
together
have
then to vote on that.
Okay.
Anything else? That's it? Okay. I know, I hate it.
Library employee raise, Hillman.
Yes, Alan is going to speak.
Yeah, the library board has met, they've conducted reviews for the staff. We've also consulted previous library board members who, yeah. And we've agreed to increase Diane Caper's wage from $11 an hour to $11.75. And similarly for Susan Hogeson, she will be increased from $9.50 an hour to $10.25 an hour. So both getting a 75-cent increase if you so do approve.
I have a few questions, I guess.
Sure, go ahead.
And first of all, thank you very much for being on the board. And so how did you come up with 75 cents?
It was just kind of recommended from some of the other board members who've been through this process. I don't think it was anything scientific. I think we wanted to be fair, acknowledge that she needs some sort of, they each need some sort of increase.
Okay.
But,
She does a lot of work up there.
yeah, and I don't think it's an issue if like these people didn't get a wage increase, they marked off the job, but they're doing an amazing job in this library.
Okay.
And I think that's something we need
I'm
to.
like Mickey, you'd think $1,
Hey, you don't speak for me, okay?
When was their last raise? Does anybody know? Mickey, do you remember?
Yeah, it was a year ago, it was 50 cents. Okay, so I want us to talk a little bit more. I don't think it's enough.
Just a second, I want to talk, because I want to say, what's the number of patrons they have per month? Do we have that in our packet of stuff?
Oh, I can also
And the
tell
number
you
of
that,
books and the number of things that they
Yeah.
do, what's their extra stuff they do?
I do have some of that information. So,
while she's looking at that, I can tell you also that Diane went through and did a comparison to what other library directors are making
Mhm,
in other nearby communities.
mhm,
So we're pretty much on par.
mhm. I did that too prior to when I got off the library board.
Right.
And some of those libraries that are the directors making more money, they're open more hours.
More hours, and there are,
And
some of them are higher tier, I think we're at the
exactly,
same
so I
level.
mean,
But
it's not,
Peyton comes up very high.
it's not necessarily apples for apples when you say that, because this other little podunk library, maybe in Peyton, they don't make hardly anything, I'm just making that up, I don't know.
No, but it's the other way around, actually. Rippey is only 15 hours a week open, so they're not very high in their pay. Peyton is what's called a tier 2
Right.
library.
Yep,
Others, some are still at 0.
yep,
So they're up there, so that you're open longer, you're open specific times, you're offering certain services that others aren't.
right, yeah.
So that pay for them is a bit higher.
Yeah, I totally understand, but I just think we need to know as a council, every single month, we should have a
yeah, and she
list.
Yeah, she gives me a list, and I'm sorry, got off
We
track.
need to see that every month, the number of patrons, the number of books for on loan, the number of people that set foot in there. How many people are they seeing? Are
Generates
they
that report.
walking through the doors?
To the-
Because if they're open and there's nobody walking in the door and they're making this kind of money, it's like, well, heck yes, I want this job. You know what I mean?
Well-
And what kind of specials do they have every single month? And I'm not trying to be mean. I know exactly what Diane does. I was in your shoes that long ago.
So it's a matter of programming also, you know.
And I just think they have a lot of stuff to offer, and I just want to make sure that the hours that is being spent is legit.
Sure.
You know, with.
But you've also got to factor in, hey, the prices have gone up for everybody. We hear it all the time, prices are up. Well, these people, prices are up for them too, when they go shopping in a grocery store, or this or that, or buying gas. They're like everybody else, and there's somewhere along the line it got to the point, well, let's just pay those library people almost nothing, that's just okay. I don't know why that is, but that is across the board in many places, so I think they deserve more. Partly just based on merit, and partly because the price of everything's going up. Now, you said you thought they should be higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's some of the things that Diane's done. She's gotten grants for new carpet and furniture, a 3D printer, a picnic table, a charging station. They are a tier 2 instead of a tier 1. She's done outside landscaping. She's done an outdoor storybook for the kids in the summer. She has a summer reading program. She has adult presentations. She's had people come in.
Yeah, very good.
We saw
Very good.
POW camps during World War II were in Iowa, and she had an author come in and talk. It was sad that there weren't more people that came and
Over
learned about it.
100,000 prisoners now.
She has programmed on fun days. We've had a garage sale this year. She participates in Jingle in the Junction. She tries to have a patron coffee every month. The bread giveaway is held there. She'll even deliver books to people if they can't get up there. I also looked up on stuff. And Everly, which is a town that's a little bit bigger, they're a tier 2. They pay their librarian $16 an hour. Dexter, which is a tier 1, pays their $14.33.
Question quick.
Yeah.
Is tier 1 better or worse?
Better, it starts at tier 0 and moves up.
Yeah, you want to move up.
And Diane was the one that spearheaded that move from
Yes.
1 up to 2.
Yes.
Because there had to be a large meeting held here at the community center where the State Library of Iowa official came in, and they worked very hard to make sure
Yes.
people from the community came in also.
Yes. Dayton is a tier 1. They pay their librarian $13.50. And I guess we pay at the pool $14.50 an hour for the assistant supervisor down there, $15 an hour for the supervisor. These two gals do a lot of work. They work 27 hours a week. And I think they deserve $2 an hour.
I agree with you.
You know what?
Make a motion.
I move that we increase the salary of Diane and Susan by $2.
I second it.
Aye.
Aye.
No,
I think $2 is a lot. $2 is a lot.
Well, we had no problem with $2 for the city, and she was already making $16 an hour.
And I
that's not
guarantee you
apples
the
to.
is doing a lot more than what the librarian is. Nothing against the librarian, but there's a lot more
Well,
responsibility on that
here's the
city
thing
part.
that I have found being on council. Anytime we replace one of our employees, we're paying more money than we paid the previous. And I'm not suggesting that every year they get a $2 raise, but I think with the situation of the economy, now that Ron's doing 2 jobs, we've got money, I won't say leftover, but we've got some money that we could use for salaries. And I think they deserve $2. What do you think's fair then? If $2 is too much, what do you think's fair?
They got a raise last year, is this correct? Is this what you
50
said?
cents an hour.
Okay, I'm just asking. Just asking so that I have a little bit more information. You don't have to scream at me, I'm sitting right here.
That was not a scream.
Well, it already passed.
True, I just have to make my, I think $2 an hour is too much, so I'm gonna vote no on that, and your $2 an hour passed. So that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you for your vote.
Who seconded that? Kenny?
I did.
Department reports. Mayor, I guess I don't have anything.
Can you tell me anything about the sewer? I hear nothing about it. I trying to figure the status, I haven't seen, the guy that looks after it for a while, but, we're still only running on one, we don't have no backup. They haven't completed that work. And it's been almost 3 months, and nothing's, either they can't get the parts or something.
It's not progressing.
Well, I think the parts are the problem.
Oh, wait on parts.
But we got no backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from the DNR yet on the sewer end of it.
Well, I've talked to Dave, but I haven't talked to Dave in about 3 weeks. In the last week, I talked to those guys and the parts.
If you're done with mayor stuff.
Well, maybe I will. Are you being kind of schooled on
I talked to him.
the?
He said that
on the
they're waiting on parts, that's what the holdup is.
It's
But
just,
you open up the things and see, check the pumps manually, and
Been asked about it today,
Brett been showing you how to do that, or?
whatever that guy's name
Dave.
is. Yeah.
Okay,
Council have anything?
I do actually.
you go first.
I do. Dean wanted me just to comment a little bit on the Betterment Committee and what has happened. Obviously, the asbestos check passed. That was part of the Betterment Committee's job. So that is checked. There is no asbestos, so anybody questions that, that's all done deal. And as of today, to drop off containers of metal gone to pickets. Trees are out of the power lines. The house and garage are ready to burn, and we're just waiting for the okay from the DNR. And Brett, if I'm wrong, you.
Nope.
But the DNR has to give us the okay to burn it, and we're certainly hoping we get it done before the first of the year. And as soon as Brett gets the go-to, it'll be done. Personally, I want to thank Dean, Kelly, Rod, and anybody else that has been down there working their tail off, because we got ownership of it and you can already see progress, and that's awesome. We knew it wasn't going to be an overnight project. We knew it was going to take time, but it's looking good, and thank you very much for everybody that has put blood, sweat, and tears into it.
Yes.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, I've got a couple things. One, I just want to tell that we did get a part of our FEMA money came in. The first payment they gave us was $93,825. So that came in. We're expecting more. I don't know if it's going to be 30,000, 40,000, not sure, but they got us this first payment because it had been so long, and they said, you guys need a little something to keep you going. So that is there. The other thing I have is a letter to read from a resident, and I'll read it and then we can discuss whatever. To whom it may concern in the Grand Junction leadership. We recently had the opportunity to vote on a county bond issue for a new jail facility. Over the past few months, there have been 17 informational meetings in Jefferson and at least one in all towns of the county except for Grand Junction. I had the opportunity to visit with Sheriff Jack Williams earlier this week, and this topic came up. I was very surprised and very disappointed to hear that the sheriff was denied the request to hold a public informational meeting for those in the Grand Junction area by the mayor, Mayor Herrick. I had heard of meetings close by in Peyton and Rippey that decided to wait for the local meeting, as I'm sure many did, to hear about the proposal and ask questions. After all, information concerning how our tax money is spent so that an informed decision can be made should be everyone's right. While I'm not saying it would have changed the outcome of the bond issue, it certainly would have been nice to see all towns equally informed. A disappointed resident, Terry Heffley. He happened to call me on election day and said that this had taken place, and I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know that we had even been asked to have a meeting here at the community center. And he apparently the deputy had talked to you, Jerry, and was told no. Now,
Oh, wait a minute. They wanted to, no,
Not that,
he wanted to
Sheriff.
put a sign up. He wanted to put a sign up.
and have a meet, no, it was the deputy, because Jack Williams took half the county, and I can't remember the deputy that took the other half of the county, and came and talked to you, wanted to have a presentation here. This is my understanding after talking to Jack. And they were told no, because it was political, that they couldn't put it here. And my opinion alone, at least, is that it's whether you decide to vote one way or vote the other way or not vote at all. If you own land in this county, it's going to affect you. Therefore, you should have been able to come here and listen and ask questions or whatever.
He wanted, of course, I get things wrong, of course, obviously. But it's like promote that project.
But they had.
He didn't say anything about a meeting to me. He just wanted.
Okay. Well, I guess I just want everybody to know, the council didn't have any knowledge of this. The sheriff's department did try to come here and present for our citizens as they did everywhere else, and it just wasn't allowed to happen. So I just want everybody to know that it wasn't the sheriff's fault. It's not the council's fault. I guess, Jerry, you made the decision to not allow it, and
That was a misunderstanding. I didn't know that he wanted a meeting for promotion or.
it was an
It was just an
informational
meeting. I'm not
Informational
promoting
meeting.
it. I'm not sure what the difference would be, but it would have been nice to
Have one here.
hear about it. Yeah.
So if, I guess if something comes up, let us know again, and we'll see that it gets done. And now that we have the owl, that's something that certainly could have been put on the owl too, so that people at home could have at least listened and gotten more information.
I have one. I just want to thank everybody that helped with the tree planting, whether you donated food or you came out and helped plant the trees. Thank you very much. We got 60 trees planted, and hopefully next year, Terry will write us a couple more grants and we'll get maybe another 130 trees. And I think it's a program that we ought to follow through for at least the next 10 years, because we got a lot of trees that need to be replaced in this town. So everybody, thank you very much.
Did we post something about the snow ordinance? We did, didn't
We put that in the paper.
we? Something.
Okay, and then I gotta come back, and it's probably too late. The raise, I wanted to make that effective July 1st.
Retroactive.
Yes, and I'm sorry that I forgot to mention that.
You guys that voted aye are still fine making it retroactive to the raise.
Yep.
Okay, next. Jerry, next.
We're good.
When's the scheduled date on the dump being burned?
It's November, right? Sometime we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to get to this month. We're pretty full, but I think we can do it.
Next.
Fire department, anything else?
December 11th is my tentative date for the Grundon property. No, excuse me. Yeah, the 11th, and then the backup date would be the 17th.
And that's to burn it, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's based on like wind and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
just weather permitting, I guess.
When are you gonna do the dump?
Hopefully, we're gonna try to squeeze it in this month.
Does the fire department, how does that work? Is the fire department all out there, or is it just like a couple of people?
I mean, like when I was working for the city, usually I'd call Mark and we'd light it or me and Dean and Nick would go light it and then Mark would bring a truck out and kind of watch it for me.
Be nice if Junction had a tractor to keep it pushed up, you know, as it burnt, you know,
We got the tractor back today again.
so.
Have we got the tractor back and we have our dump truck back?
Got everything back.
Ooh, and the trailer?
We're not just, let's just keep.
Let us know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
Anything else?
I had one question to the fire department. I think somebody showed me, a bill for $704 for clothing that was bought. What was that clothing?
That was some kind of a
It
suit.
would have been bunker, it would have been wildland gear probably, or it would have been for that price.
It would have been what?
It's called wildland gear.
And what's that?
That's somebody's not gonna go into a structure.
Okay, so it's like,
It's a lot cheaper versus buying somebody,
like me and she would have that.
Not necessarily.
like for like.
If I catch you around, I'll show you.
You guys just got a bunch of new ones though, right? I mean, and now this one is an add-on because,
That would,
Because Brett needed it. What are you doing, Mark?
no, that would,
Oh,
something
okay.
that came off of
I don't
probation,
wear wear
so we got it ordered so she could have it when she got off of probation.
okay.
Is that it? I move
Do I-
that we adjourn.
Do I, have a motion to adjourn?
The library,
Oh, yeah, library, sorry. We
Skip
skipped,
over
we skipped the
Just to-
library.
Just to go back, are you getting those monthly staff reports from the library?
Yes.
Coming
Turns
into your
them in.
packets? Okay, and she does, we do.
They need
follow.
to be.
I bring them every month.
Okay, and then I know that she has compiled all the stats for the year, as part of the state library. We could probably get that together and just share that with you, if you'd like to see that. But they did have a very nice event here yesterday. It was the Green County Libraries Association, but we're the host library. Here at the community center, where Darcy Malsby from Lake City made a great presentation on a book she's written. Had 30 people here, which was great. So, and then the Payton librarian was here, Jane from Jefferson, and Kara from Ripley, and Diane, host. And earlier in the month, they had a very nice discussion program. They had one at this library here in Grand Junction, one in Jefferson, and one in Payton. The book was Amor Toll's The Lincoln Highway, very popular book, and proud to say that, Jan Schrankson's one of our residents giving the presentation. So this has been a busy month of the library, so we've done some good stuff.
Eleanor, you're president now?
Sorry, what?
Who's president?
Oh, I'm the president
You're
of
the
the
president, okay.
board, yes. It's me and the four nurses, basically.
Great.
They're all nurses.
So somebody made a motion to adjourn. I'll second.
Aye.